The Sun 101. Jealousy in the Age of Visibility. So today we're going to talk about a few things when it comes to the idea of the sun. The things that humans have done across time to either shield it away or maybe use it for technology. And I feel like it was nice to have this sun aspect in astrology because a lot of the times we say, well, we see the sun as Leo or us, how we exist in the world. But in the same way, our rising sign is also seen as how we exist on Earth. So much of these signs are, in a way, showing us how we are in this physical state. So, sun is firstly everybody orbits around the sun, or every celestial body orbits around the sun. The sun, however, orbits the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And I feel like this is important to include when it comes to the astronomy of the sun, because there is a lot about its proximity to Earth, even measurements, even how we're dressed, that the sun has a big factor in all of that. And it will go to say, without the sun, we wouldn't have food, we wouldn't have life, we wouldn't have anything without the sun. And so when you have placements in your astrology chart, it does show an area of how that importance or potency exists in each and every one. So, much of the time, everybody's got a Leo zodiacal sign in their astrological chart, and wherever that's showing will show elements of where you're being highlighted or where you're being illuminated. And if we get back to astronomically, the sun is huge, right? So when we're looking up, we at nighttime we can see the little small stars, we can see Venus from time to time. But the sun, literally, it's huge in comparison to the rest of the planets. And I say that, and I'm making these comparisons astronomically because that's Leo. That's the sun, that's the ego. And it's also fair to say, I don't know if you guys have, or if you're maybe new here, right? But the Leo 101, where we talk about how Leos exist and how, even in a way, its heat, its radiation, its power, what it emits, what it attracts, it can be very dangerous, very, very dangerous, but also very entertaining and very enlightening and very joyful. So again, it's not a surprise that it's also ruled by the fifth house, which is ruled by Venus, because Venus is the goddess of love and war. And so is the sun. It's both benevolent and malevolent. And so when we see the archetype of, let's say, a person or a Leo, or even how it's expressing itself in your astrological chart, it will go to say that if there are any frustrations when it comes to this idea of Leo, it's where and how are you existing when it comes to whatever you're frustrated by when it comes to this energy. Because a lot of the time, the ego, right, the boisterousness of Leo is one that can be frowned upon, right? I don't know, the first person I'm thinking of is Meghan Markle, right? No one likes this lady. Okay, she's just being herself. No one likes her. Even if she like Mother Teresa, no one likes this woman, and she so happens to be a Leo. And I didn't pull up her chart. This is just coming to my head now. Like, I feel that when we look at how the archetypes of Leo is presented, there is this internal frustration, which would identify some or illuminate some things that probably are not aligning with self. Now, I don't know much about Meghan Markle. I know she's a Leo and no one really likes her like that. That's what I've gathered. I ain't done much more than that. But hey, look, feel free to let me know. And so there's that when it comes to the sun and how it's seen. It would be important to understand jealousy in the age of visibility, because what I'm going to touch on here is not just how the sun or its attention or attraction is used, but also how it can go into that goddess of war, goddess of love energy. And it's how you're wielding that and how you're observing that and how much of that is entertaining your ego. Your ego is the sun. So if you're having things that are highly entertaining or highly destructive or this is the sun. This is your primitive brain. and your higher brain as well, I guess. So what we have here is a duality in a way. Even though it's a fixed sign, there is something dual about it. I guess, well, seeing jealousy as you can be jealous of someone exudes visibility, beauty, vitality, strength, these things, confidence, because that would be a direct reflection of something that you don't have and you don't want to be shown up in this way. Why are you showing us up? You know, it can be that rhetoric, like, why do you have to do so much? You know? And so when we think of jealousy and I guess envy, we're looking at it from two perspectives. So you could be the person someone is jealous of, or you could be the one that is having jealousy towards that person. And it's more understanding where you stand there. And it just is, you know, the sun, Leo, the ego, it just is. It's a point of consciousness in the physical world. It's how you do your mundane things. You go to work, you drive your car, you pay the bills. Like, these are all physical actions of, like, this is all the sun. This is all ego operating in the real world, doing all the things. I've got to make sure I pay this bill because, you know, I don't want to look like I'm not paying my bills, you know? Oh, I don't want to do this. It's pride. So ego's not a bad thing, but you just need to know which part of the car it's in, right? Sometimes if ego's taking the front seat, we might have a rocky ride. When there's bumps on the road, hey, what bumps? Let's keep going, you know? And sometimes it just needs to know where it's placed. And this is a very powerful energy. And if it's used properly, you can do some amazing things. But let's talk about how humankind has wielded or alchemized this energy of jealousy in this age of visibility. In the olden days, they used this talisman called the evil eye. And they have different names for it. But we're going to call it the evil eye. And it has 4 concentric rings. And each of those rings have different, I guess, methods of extraction. Put it that way. And so the first ring is a dark blue color. Typically, because it seems like there's different types. There's green ones, there's red ones, there's white ones. But they all follow the same format. But the most ones that most of us we know and is famously in our emojis is the one with the outer dark blue circle. So this dark blue represents no bad karma, or to resist or deflect bad karma or fate, which is interesting. And it's more transmuting it. It's not just pushing it away. It's alchemizing it. And then you have the second circle, which represents the sky and the sea, which is very interesting because that is very Neptunian, right? This is where things get stirred up in the pot of astral consciousness, the astral cauldron. But that is circle 2. Circle 3 is purity. And I guess it's more kind of, this is interesting to me because even how the colors and its meanings work. And then the black dot, the fourth circle, is either absorbing or transmuting that, bringing out that energy, right? So I guess in alchemy, much like when you think about when people are jealous towards you, there is an idea to, it's either if you are still rattled by someone who is trying to make you feel some type of way for doing whatever, right? If you're doing an amazing thing and someone says, oh, well, it's not really that great, or you're not really making that much money. You're not going to, things like this, right? You have to understand that this is I guess, an archon, and we're going to get here, right, with the Gnostics' idea of archons. This is the archon working to see if you are going to still stay in the old self, in the old reality or the old frequency, or you're going to be above it and go forward, just like a Leo. Leo don't care. Like, sorry, what? Yeah. I'm sorry, but I know I'm great. Yeah, I know I'm great. Let's keep it moving. Hello. So that is that energy, right? So even if there is a way, it's like, how do I alchemize it? Think like a Leo, just if that's the one of the ways, right? I'm sure there's many ways. And this is, so then when we think of, I don't know, what was it? Metaphysics, how we understand energy or resonance. So someone's at a low resonance of saying something bad, even though you're doing something good, and they're envious, and it's clear that they're envious. And even if they can't see it because they're so shrouded in envy, then you see, oh, this is a test and I'm in the right direction. That means I'm doing something that I'm supposed to be doing. And then the way, just like the evil eye, it transmutes it. It says, let's turn this into gold. Give the intention back to them, because that, I don't know what to do with that, but the energy, oh, you can give me that. You can give me all of your jealousy, and I'm going to churn it, and I'm going to turn it in. I'm going to get Neptune to do a little thing here and there, right? I'm going to get Mercury to do its bits. And then it transmutes and does something really great for me. I know that I'm going in the right direction. And that's the thing about life. Jealousy only does harm to the person that it's giving it out if the cycle doesn't finish, right? So if, like, let's say the starting point, jealousy is activated here. And it goes round and it's trying to go to the sender, right? But you go here and you're like, sorry. And you have the Leo energy here, yeah? And you're like, sorry, where were you going? Guess what it has to do? It says, oh, what happened? And then it has to go back. It has to return back to sender. So however heavy that energy was, it goes back. Now, if you absorb that energy, it depends on how much you want to absorb, right? But if you say, I'm just going to take the energy of just in its pure sense, but the intention that you were trying to give to me, I send that back. Then you've now transmuted it into something that helps you. And they've got their bad vibes sent back to them. Times 10. let's just say. And so much like the evil eye, it's doing that. I was trying to find research on just like the artist or the sculptor, or, you know, I just saw something about like they used to put it in burials for kings. So when they're in the afterlife, they could be protected from the evil spirits that are there, which is very interesting. Okay, so they're saying there's evil eye in the astral realm because they were once a king or whatever. But yeah, so that was interesting. But apart from like the circles, and they're breaking it down, but it's still very basic. You know, like I would have loved a more in-depth understanding, but I couldn't find any. So yes, ultimately, the evil eye is to reflect malevolent gaze and intentions back to the source, much like this real life action I put here. And so, when we're talking about the evil eye, what is the evil? I know some people in the comments, they get a bit irritated when this word is used. They don't like it. Evil. I don't know what to tell you. I'm really sorry. This is in the vocabulary, or it's in the dictionary, it's used. If it wasn't necessary, then it wouldn't exist. You know what I mean? And you know, humans, they do bits, you know, and you gotta categorize them, and they thought of that one. So take it out with the dictionary. Take it out with Webster's dictionary. So, speaking of evil, speaking of what that is or how that holds, when we're talking about jealousy, because some people saw it as evil, like you're wishing bad on me because there's something on me that is good. Why would you do that? That's not nice. And sometimes, some people, it's by default. So this is also here. It's like, you might do this as a complete reaction of, you're doing something and that's making me look bad. And that is it's so juicy, that part, because then it's saying, okay, so now work on that. What is it that you feel that you couldn't transmute that to be just happy for that person? And this is where the sun is such a fascinating star, I guess, to look at, because it's showing the aspect of humans how we relate to what is illuminated or what is entertaining, or who should be praised and who should not be praised. So what's happening when somebody is in a state of feeling like they're not good enough, or they're not, and 9 times out of 10 is they're not following their soul urge, their soul purpose. They're not doing that. And if they maybe see that you're doing that, it makes them feel pressure, which I'm pretty sure someone said out there, I don't know the quote verbatim, but pressure makes diamonds, because it does. If the pressure is being applied by default, that means there's something there to tap into, surely. So, the Gnostics, they saw the zodiac sign as the 12 archons, or the 12 demons. And there's also this understanding, or it kind of eludes this idea of we are the 13th zodiac sign. This is not, it could be still Gnostic understanding. We are the 13th zodiac sign. We are Yeshua, or Jesus. We are the center of the astrological wheel. And then it gets more interesting, because it looks like the sun in terms of how the sun is portrayed astrologically, right? This will be seen as our sun sign, right? And it's very similar to that of the evil eye. But now it's got all these extra circles that have a bit of magic going on. So there's something really interesting about a circle and a dot. It could also be seen, when we talk about eyes, we can see it as the Eye of Horus, but we'll get there. We'll get there in a minute. So we are the dot. We are in the center of the astrological wheel. So what would that suggest? There's a theory. When we think of Solomon and Solomon's ring, and it's wielding of demons. If you don't know the story, Solomon was given a ring by Archangel Michael, and he was able to wield all the demons like Pokemon. Okay, it's like, you get in the ring, you get in the ring, and each demon was under a star sign, and a lot of the times they were saying their enemy is Yeshua or Jesus, which was very interesting. If you haven't read or looked at the Book of Solomon, and there's stuff on YouTube that kind of like, they use the fancy music and whatever, and they tell the story of Solomon. Have a look. Because it might open up certain aspects or certain energies of how we see certain aspects of our chart. And so seeing the chart as certain areas of our lives, and seeing that we are wielding all these energies and not having it wield us, much like with Solomon, right? Much like with Solomon, he was able to harness and control these demons to create temples, to create buildings. But he got a bit greedy, didn't he? He got a bit excited, and it didn't turn out too well for him. And that goes to say, when we're thinking about the ego, this is why the ego can't be the front seat of the car, if we're going to be metaphorical here. Has to be at the back seat. Can't be at the front at all. Because sometimes too much ego, it goes left very quickly. And what I mean by that is that it gets out of to so much. It's like blinded by their own grandeur, blinded by their own light. Too much light. There's not enough refraction to kind of stabilize the light. If you get my drift. So I thought this idea of Solomon, and even if you break down the word of Solomon, Sol as in the sun, and the Mon as in moon. The sun and moon. And Solomon, maybe could have been in the center of that. It's just like the MasterCard symbol. Anyway, so let's go forward and still keep breaking down jealousy in the age of visibility, because we are living in the digital age, and much of these, whether it's these talismans in the olden days, what we've now digitized very cleverly, I have to say, to ward off any evil eye, it's definitely up for discussion, right? How is jealousy now transmuted into tech? What does that look like? Are we jealous of the things other people have? Are other people jealous of? Because sometimes I'm seeing I see people and they're talking about others. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if that person knows that you're talking about them in front of all these thousands of people. I'm like, back in the day, you talk to your friends about somebody, but now everybody's got a platform. Everybody can talk. Leo is the stage. Leo is going to say all the things. Leo's going to be entertaining. It's going to be shock, horror, or fun, So it's fair to say we can add a bit of tech into this digital age when it comes to jealousy, and when it comes to the sun, or comes to our ego. And so this comes on to the right eye of Horus. This is how the sun is perceived. It's perceived as Sol. It's perceived as also the right eye of Horus. So the right eye of Horus is really like the solar eye, if we're going to connect the dots. It represents light, awareness, and willpower. The part of consciousness that sees and acts. In the Egyptian story of the Right Eye of Horus, or how it came to be, Horus goes to war with Set. Set is Horus's uncle. And he's got a bit of a gripe with the uncle because he killed his father. So, you know what? Horus, do your thing. So, in this battle, Horus loses his right eye. And Set's he's not left unwounded. Okay, this battle was a fair one. Yeah, because Set loses his testicles. So is band for band. Tit for tat. Which I guess in Greek mythology, yeah. But anyway, let's go. So if we look at it, it's like a battle of vision with the eye and a battle of potency. The right eye, which we can see as the sun, is torn apart. And then it's later in the story restored by Thoth. Now, who is Thoth? If we remember, Thoth is Hermes. Thoth is Mercury. Thoth is also seen in Egyptian understanding as the moon, and is even Mercury symbolically in astrology has these components. You know what I mean? So it gets really interesting about how Mercury plays in every single aspect of the signs of mythology. And so that would even say, when we're looking at ego, trying to understand how people are reacting towards us, and we'll talk this more about how placements can identify these jealousy aspects. Also look at your Mercury. See what's happening there. See how it can be dissolved there. Because Mercury is always there to help. Again, it's not a friend. It's just here to give nuggets because it loves intelligence. If you're going to come and do something that is courageous in terms of intelligence, you will get rewarded. From my understanding of seeing Mercury just pop up left, right, and center. And so this Mercurian archetype, Thoth, is the messenger, the one who measures and the one who remembers. So, the sun is the eye, Mercury is the one that puts it back together. It's like knowledge is medicine in a way, right? Knowledge is the epitome of overriding any kind of envy or jealousy or anger or anything. Knowledge. And then you apply that knowledge and then you gain wisdom. Anyway. Now, the overlaps, which I found was really juicy, was the understanding of Greek mythology, because there was also another genitalia of chopping and dropping in the sea, which made Aphrodite that right. So, you get the same. So Zeus was overthrown by Kronos, right? And just like how Horus defeats Set, the pattern is the same. The new generation takes power from the old. But in Egypt, the story is told with more nuance. They're a family, uncle and nephew, not just father and son. So it's not just rebellion, it's about restoring balance. And across time, I have to say, like, when I look at this, where we're looking at yin and yang, where we're looking at Noah's Ark with the dove and the crow, whether we're looking at Solomon, the sun and the moon, where we're looking at the right eye and the left eye, where we're looking at everything has duality, everything has balance. And once you mess that up, it will naturally balance itself out. And that's why sometimes I've just started to think, like, when things start to act a bit weird, I say, oh, no, I'm not being part of that. I've seen Titanic. I don't want to be on a sunken ship. No. I whatever mayhem is on that side, I'm not being part of it. Excuse me. I'm going to step back because it will work itself out. Sometimes it depends how you discern. So with jealousy, you can act and maybe react, but is that serving you? Or you can just be a bystander and say, oh, I see that happening, but it doesn't affect me. And then it sends back to sender. So there are these constant, these stories or these stories, they're always kind of bringing back to this idea of balance. Now, I think it's fair to say that both of these stories create Venus. And because Venus is something that embodies a lot of jealousy, because it is something that you would naturally be good at, if wherever Venus is in your chart, there'll be something that you hold potently in your behavior or how you talk or whatever it is, you will hold it wherever the house is in. And so it's fair to say, and also because the fifth house rules Leo and it also rules Venus. It's the ruler of good fortune. So it would be fair to say, even in this battle, both of these battles produced Aphrodite in their own ways. So let's see. Let's go forward onto placements. So placements that are prone to attracting the evil eye. And I mean, we could definitely find some more, but I feel like these are the ones that just came to mind first. So straight away, Leo. If you have a stellium in that chart, whatever house that is in, it's gonna bring attention. You're going to be seen in a lot of ways. Oh my gosh, I just remembered. I was saying a sun or squares a house. And there is a generation that would be very potent. I think it's Pluto in Scorpio. Elements, just because of where things were positioned. But I do feel that anything squaring your sun, or even trining your sun, will have, because the sun is so powerful, because it's so big, because it has such a gravitational pull, that doesn't matter what angle, what aspect, it's going to have an impact. And so have a look at your chart, see if you have any sun squaring or anything squaring your sun, anything squaring, especially if you're a Leo, squaring your house that is under the sign of Leo, or your fifth house. What else was there? Planets in Pisces, again, this Jupiter energy or Neptune energy. It's being able to dig up information or be creative in ways that it's not easily replicated, you know? And so people will be jealous of that because you can't imitate so easily. Because that's coming from the original source. So there is that. So have a look and see how certain areas of your chart are prone to attracting the evil eye in this age of visibility. And so there's that in the astrological sense. And then we go into understanding squares, because I thought that was very interesting. I mean, we could definitely do a video talking about all the aspects of when it comes to squares, sextiles, these things, and trines. I really, really, actually, I can't wait to do that because it's going to be really fun. But yeah, so I keep feeling that there is something mathematical about or connections about the archangels and the angles. The number 9, or the angle, or a square, is a 90-degree angle. And 9 is the number of completion. It's fixed. It's not going to change anywhere. It's not going to do anything. When two edges meet, I mean, I guess in carpentry or joinery, you have two butt edges. Now you can soften that edges. I think there's like oh man, what's it? A dovetail. Am I saying the right thing? Where the hinge goes like this, and you create two joins, and it hits like that. Now this is still a 90-degree angle, but it does something it's very fixed. You can have a butt joint, or you can have, I'm gonna say dovetail joint. I could be wrong, but these angles, regardless of how it's fixed, is very potent, and it's not fluid, and it's very harsh, as opposed to more of the softer angles, like a 45-degree, for example. Now, because it's so fixed, what does that mean astrologically? It's a condition in your chart that is very serious. It's like this is something that whether you want to avoid it, you gotta look into this. This is not going anywhere. The angles or the angels are watching over, because these are the conditions that they stand by. These are their laws. And these fixed controls of, I guess, testing your light, testing your ego, testing the sun. Are you having too much light that you don't know where you're going? You're blinded by your own light. Or are you wielding how this works? Are you dimming your light? Because, sometimes I see the square as like the bully, right? I don't know, on TV shows in the 90s, they'll have like someone bullying the child at the locker room and, give me your money, man. I don't know if the American accent is the one, but you know what I mean. And the kid's like, yeah, okay. And then he gives the money, and then he goes home. He's like, no, I hate it. I hate being bullied. Now, even in that, you have two options. You either use your ego to really make sure that kid never plays with you again, or, well, we're not promoting violence here, but or you're going to use your wit. You're going to use Mercury. And this is why I say Mercury is always there. When you want to call on Mercury, you're like, yes, you rang. I'm here for intellect. I'm here for wit. I'm here for cunning. What do you want? And so it's looking at how you wield that energy, or how you understand or work through your square, that even though it presents itself, it no longer takes a toll on you in the way that it used to. It no longer, when you see the bully, you don't feel the effects like you used to. In fact, very much, it could transmute itself that the bully wants to be your friend. And wow, is that alchemy or what? Right? Because what is a bully? A bully is someone who's also being bullied. Bully is not their life. The archetype of a bully is the same story over and over again. So have a look at your chart. See what's squaring your sun or any kind of Leo aspects. Or if you are a Leo, that there are some things here to look at. So let's look lastly at, jealousy in the age of visibility in terms of digital hygiene. Now, I said tech is a Leo. Why am I saying that? Now, by now, from what I've been saying, you can see that tech has the energy of that because it's drawing attention to us every day. Like sometimes when I'm on public transportation and I just look around and everybody's on their phone. Occasionally you got the OGs got an old school book in their hand. Someone from time to time has a Kindle, but most times there's one lady ferociously just Candy Crushing away. I'm like, wow, okay, this is where we are. The attention to our phones, the attention to our digital screens is a part of our life now. I'm not here to do judgment or anything like this, but it's more just understanding that Leo is the goddess of all. Or Venus is the goddess of love and war. So where is it? Where is that playing when it comes to digital age? This digital age, are you wielding the energy of the sun, or is the sun wielding you? Is your ego taking the front seat, or does it need to take a bit of a back seat? How can you transmute this? Because it's about high stimulation, right? How can you transmute that into something that actually helps you or moves you forward? Because that's what you're yearning for. In the end, when we're looking at it looking at the root of it, you're yearning for something to stimulate you. And these, not to say these apps are bad or good, but that they're doing the job. This is Leo. This is the stage. We are here to entertain you. What do you want? Do you want a bit of Candy Crush? Okay. Do you want a bit of a word search? Yes. And so we would say this is a bit of like the sun with Uranus energy, with a splash of Mercury, just for, little spritzer. And ultimately, it takes all energy. Energy is just energy to, are you feeling jealous? Let me take that. If you're happy, you like this? Okay, you think it's funny? Yeah, okay, let's keep taking it. Technology is our digital cousin, it's our digital ego. And at times, or most of the times, it's doing an algorithmic gaze, or I called it the algorithmic eye. It's a different type of eye. This eye, in comparison to the evil eye, it does both things. It looks at your algorithm of your archons, of the things that you like, your interest, your disinterest, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, all the things. And it also deflects and encourages and dispels. And so there's a lot going on here when we think about the algorithmic eye. And we think about that sun energy and how it plays when it comes to our ego. Because what it's doing is is just like our ego, just like with our sun, it's testing us internally, but it's also testing us externally. And so in this day and age of influencers entertaining, receiving, emitting energy, all these kind of things, it's about how we're looking at that from a sovereign point of view. And I wanted to leave it there because, I don't know, I find the area of digital hygiene, and I think that's going to happen now that we're, they're coming up to a very potent month, that we're going to start erasing things or part of our algorithm or things that maybe we've liked in terms of like maybe people who we follow or people who or things that we had interested in, but we just couldn't be bothered, right? We couldn't be bothered to delete some things. We couldn't be bothered to erase or, overall a digital spring clean. I feel like there's an energy of that happening right now where people are revising and returning back to things that made more sense to them towards their purpose, towards their destiny, towards the things that would truly fill them. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I say that to say there was something, this This is not me being critical. This is just observation, darling. And our circadian rhythm shifts around time. And as people know, when like the clock has gone back, right? When these things happen, before time goes back or forward, we feel it. So whether that's us collectively waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning because we felt the shift of the time we normally wake up from what maybe it's darker outside or whatever. We feel the shift. And sometimes that disturbs our rhythm, our toric field. And so what I'm noticing is that there is this idea to say, oh, and you guys, you're not going to sleep well tonight. You're not going to sleep well this month because, yeah, you're going to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning because, yeah, there's this disturbances, this fear-based like analogy. And it's nothing more than just your circadian rhythm just realigning itself because there's been an earth shift. And so, again, with attention, right? Paying attention to what is being said, paying attention to what is being fed to you or fed to your ego, because again, the sun takes everything. You don't care. What is being reflected to you back right now when it comes to your algorithm? Is it a good reflection of you? Are you okay with that? Or what is it trying to tell you? Or if you're observing it from the outside in, are you saying, yeah, I like that? Because something about the ego, something about how we can harness the ego in a way that we're transmuting it into something where it doesn't control us, we control it. And things that are being mirrored back to us, again, like, I don't know, if we're on the phone and you say, yeah, I just had an amazing salad the other day, blah, blah, blah. And then the minute you go on social media, then you're seeing salad this and salad that. And this is just a light version, but imagine if there was something more serious, more sad, more intense. So how we're understanding being able to work through those things like, I don't know, if you say, I don't like this, I don't like this on my algorithm, sorry, take this off. Then at least the algorithm says, oh, okay, I heard you talking about it. I thought this would entertain you. Okay, you don't like it. Thank you for letting me know. In this digital age of visibility and jealousy and envy, there is this new added element that I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a lot of people do have their digital hygiene unchecked, but this is, I would say, the sun in its detriment, right? When it's not performing well. But yeah, have a look, see what that feels like to you. But we've reached to the end, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And I will speak to you soon. Take care.